This is Resonance 104.4 FM. Flippin' marvellous. How are you doing? Hey, good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm Nick Hennegan, and welcome to another edition of Literary London. Also on bohemianbritain.com, so lots of London and Britain there. Although, in fact, this episode, we're once again going over the pond to celebrate a writer of some note. I am talking about Allen Ginsberg. Allen Ginsberg, born on the 3rd of July, 1926, so sort of around this time. He actually passed away on the 5th of April, 1997. But, of course, a very famous American poet, one of the leading figures of the Beat generation of the 1950s. Yeah, man, far out. Beat generation. He opposed militarism, economic materialism, and sexual repression. He's probably best known for his epic poem, Howl, which lamented the kind of destruction of the best minds of his generation. Excuse me. He had a collection of poems called The Fall of America, which shared the annual US National Book Award for Poetry in 1974. His letters, well, it was called The Letters of Allen Ginsberg, was published in 2008, posthumously, of course, with a collection edited that focuses on Ginsberg correspondence with Kerouac. Jack Kerouac was also published as Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg, The Letters. That's an unusual name, isn't it? No, not particularly. He also had a compilation of his verse published in 2016 called Wait Till I'm Dead, Uncollected Poems, about the various verse that he'd submitted to various publications and was selected from his correspondence. He had some great quotes as well, as I like to quote, about our famous writers. Follow your inner moonlight. Don't hide the madness is one of them. And I quite like this if you're a writer as well. Sometimes I feel in command when I'm writing. When I'm in the heat of some truthful tears, yes. Then complete command. Other times, most of the time, not. Just diddling away, wood carving, getting a pretty shape like most of my poetry. I quite like that notion as well. Writing, just diddling away. Let's hear from the maestro. This is Allen Ginsberg and America.
An unfinished poem, which I'll finish sooner or later, but I like to read the first half of now. America, I've given you all, and now I'm nothing. America, $2.27, January 17th, 1956. America, I can't stand my own mind. America, when will we end the human war? Go fuck yourself with your atom bomb. I don't feel good, don't bother me. I won't write my poem until I'm in my right mind. When will you be angelic? When will you take off your clothes? When will you look at yourself through the grave? When will you be worthy of your million Christs? America, why are your libraries full of tears? America, when will you send your eggs to India? I'm sick of your insane demands. When will you reinvent the heart? When will you manufacture lambs? When will your cowboys read Spangler? When will your dams release the flood of eastern tears? When will your technicians get drunk and abolish money? When will you institute religions of perception in your legislatures? When can I go into the supermarket and buy what I need with my good looks? America, after all, it is you and I who are perfect, not the next world. Your machinery is too much for me. I don't want to work for a living. You made me want to be a saint. There must be some other way to settle this argument. I don't want to die young. I want to die old and unhappy. I don't mind dying so long as it's not sordid. Now, Burroughs is in Tangiers. I don't think he'll come back and is sinister. Are you being sinister, or is this some form of playing a practical joke? I'm trying to come to the point. I refuse to give up my obsession. America, stop pushing. I know what I'm doing. America, the plum blossoms are falling. America, I haven't read the newspapers for months. Every day somebody goes on trial for murder. America, I feel sentimental about the Wobblies. America, I used to be a communist when I was a kid. I'm not sorry. I smoke marijuana every chance I get. Only $2.27. I don't want to work. Maybe it's looking for the job. I can't study anymore. I'll never teach for a living. I sit in my house for days on end without going out. When I go to Chinatown, I get drunk and never get laid. My mind is made up. There's going to be trouble. You should have seen me reading Marx. The American flag is absolutely meaningless to me still, just as it was in the 30s. I won't say the Lord's Prayer. I have mystical visions and cosmic vibrations. America, I still haven't told you what you did to Uncle Max after he came over from Russia. I'm addressing you. Are you going to let your emotional life be run by Time magazine? I'm obsessed by Time magazine. I read it every week. Its cover stares at me every time I pass the corner of northwest of Sutter Street and Montgomery Street. I read it in the basement of the Berkeley Public Library. Time magazine is always telling me about responsibility. Businessmen are serious. Movie producers are serious. Everybody's serious but me. It occurs to me that I am America. I am talking to myself again. Asia is rising against me. I haven't got a Chinaman's chance. I had better consider over my natural resources. My natural resources consist of 2 sticks of marijuana, millions of genitals, an atom bomb, and 2,500 mental institutions. I say nothing about my prisons or the millions of underprivileged who live in my flower pots. I have very few bordellos, and that's all there is. I have abolished my whorehouses in France, and Tangiers is the next to go. My ambition is to be president despite the fact that I'm a Catholic. America, how can I write a holy litany in your silly mood? I will continue like Henry Ford. My strophes are as individual as his automobiles. More so, they're all different sexes. America, I will sell you strophes at $2,500 apiece. 500 down on your old strophe is trade-in, and the rest of your life is to pay. America, free Tom Mooney. America, save the Spanish loyalists. America, Sacco and Vanzetti must not die. I am the Scottsboro Boys.
You are!
America, when I was 7, my mother took me to a communist cell meeting. They sold us bupkis, a handful per ticket. A ticket cost a nickel, and the speeches were free. Everybody was angelic and sentimental about the workers. It was all so sincere, you have no idea what a good thing the party was in 1835. Scott Nearing was a grand old man, a real mensch. Mother Bloor made me cry. I once saw a Browder plane. Everybody must have been a spy. America, you don't really want to go to war. America, it's them bad Russians. Them Russians, and them Chinamen. And them Russians. The Russians are power mad. The Russia wants to eat us alive. She wants to take our cars from out our garages. Her wants to take our factories. Her wants to corrupt our college girls. Her wants to put us all in slave labor camps. Her wants to emaciate us like skeletons. Her wants Malenko or Buchanan or somebody to be our boss. Her wants to dictify us. Him big bureaucracy running our filling stations. That no good. Look, you make Indians learn read. Ha! Him need niggers. Whoa! Her make us all work 16 hours a day. Help! America, this is quite serious. America, this is the impression I get from reading the newspaper. America, is this correct? I'd better get right down to the job. It's true, I don't want to join the army or turn lathes and precision parts factories. I'm nearsighted and psychopathic anyway. America, I am putting my queer shoulder to the wheel.
Allen Ginsberg and America, and apologies for some of the language in that. It was from a different time, but of course that was the whole point of Ginsberg, really. He was born, give me his full name actually, Erwin Allen Ginsberg, born on the 3rd of June in 1926 to a family in Newark, New Jersey. He grew up in nearby Paterson, the second son of Louis Ginsberg, also born in Newark. He was a school teacher and a published poet himself, and the former Naomi Levi, born in Neville in Russia. She was a fervent Marxist. So all these kind of things, I think, probably added to his, the socialization process is always the same. He referred to his parents in a 1985 interview as old-fashioned delicatessen philosophers. But of course, work-wise, and in terms of the San Francisco Renaissance, perhaps, because he moved there in 1950s to San Francisco, working as a market researcher, and he became associated with poets that were centered around public readings. As I say, his most famous one is Howl, but we don't have time for that. It's 31 minutes long. So I thought I'd play this one for you. This is Death to Van Gogh's Ear. Or as I'd say in America, Van Gogh. No, mate. Death to Van Gogh's Ear. Allen Ginsberg.
Alan, you want to read your Apollinaire poem that America hardly knows about?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking maybe seeing as I'm here. You know what I'll read, Gregory?
Your mother's poem?
No, I'm going to read
I would love
that.
you to say something very beautiful about
Death to Van Gogh's Ear.
Yes.
To say something beautiful about what?
No, it's all right. To clear that.
Beautiful about what?
I think about us and what they've been saying that's making us
Yes.
like, a bunch of idiots. But I think that there is
Well, let
some
the poetry
rose
speak.
in it. Let the poetry speak.
Yeah.
All right.
The normal order, since I've been reading literary poems, I would next have read Apollinaire's Grave, an ode on Apollinaire's Grave, but I don't...
Give your name.
Ginsberg speaking
You have to
again.
raise up.
Ginsberg speaking again. Am I loud enough? Or shall I move this in? No,
Fine,
just don't
everything's
touch
fine.
anything. Okay. But no time, so I'm now going to read a 4-page poem called Death to Van Gogh's Ear, dedicated to the United States in the year 1959. Poet is priest. Money has destroyed the soul of America. Congress has broken through to the precipice of eternity, and the president has built a war machine which will vomit and rear up Russia out of Kansas. The American century betrayed by a mad cabinet which no longer sleeps with its wife. Franco has murdered Lorca, the fairy son of Whitman, just as Mayakovsky committed suicide to avoid Russia, just as Hart Crane, that distinguished Platonist, committed suicide to cave in the wrong side of America, just as millions of tons of human wheat were burned in secret caverns under the White House, while India starved and screamed and ate mad dogs full of rain, and mountains of eggs were reduced to powder and burned in the halls of Congress, and no God-fearing man will walk there again because of the stink of the rotten eggs of eternity. And the Indians of Chiapas continue to gnaw their vitaminless tortillas, and the Aborigines of Australia gibber in the eggless wilderness, and the Chinese have no eggs, and the Chinese poets have no eggs, and the paintings of France fall apart for lack of eggs, and I rarely have an egg for my breakfast, though my work requires infinite eggs to come to birth in eternity, and eggs should be eaten or given to their mothers, and the grief of the countless chickens of America is expressed in the screaming of her comedians over the radio. Now Detroit has built 1 million automobiles of rhinestones and phantoms, but I walk, and the Orient walks with me, all Africa walks, sooner or later North America will walk, and my father has bankrupted himself and missed a trip to Asia for a new model which will break down in 2 years in disgust, and now we will never fly to the moon in his lifetime. As we have driven the Chinese angel from out our door, so now he will drive us from the golden door of the future, and we have not cherished pity on Tanganyika, and Einstein was cursed for murmuring heavenly politics, and the immortal Chaplin has been driven from our shores with a rose in his teeth. We wanted his money, back taxes on his genius, and put him on trial for getting laid. And Bertrand Russell also got laid and was driven from New York before the war. And the virgin Allen Ginsberg was expelled from Columbia on the mere suspicion of getting laid. And a secret conspiracy by the Catholic Church in the basement of Congress has denied the use of contraceptive to the unceasing masses of India. And nobody publishes a word that is not the cowardly robot ravings of a depraved mentality. And the day of the revolution of the true literature of the American body will be the day of revolution publication, the revolution of the sexy lamb, the only bloodless revolution that will give away corn. The Thieves' Journal by Genet will improve honesty on Madison Avenue. Lady Chatterley's Lover will improve relations in suburban bedrooms. Tropic of Cancer will make for honesty in English departments. Lord Rochester will save Broadway from its tragedy. Desaid amuse Iowa. And the heroine of Lao Tse and the sixth patriarch is punished by the electric chair, but the poor sick junkies have nowhere to lay their heads, and the geniuses of our government have invented a cold turkey cure for addiction as obsolete as the defense early warning radar system. I am the defense early warning radar system. I see nothing but bombs. I am not interested in preventing Asia from being Asia. And the governments of Russia and Asia will rise and fall, but Russia and Asia will not fall. And the government of America will also fall, but how can America fall? I doubt if anyone will really fall anymore except governments. Fortunately, all governments will fall. The only ones which won't fall are the good ones, and the good ones don't yet exist. But they have to begin existing. They exist in my poems. They exist in the death of the Russian and American governments. They exist in the death of Hart Crane and Mayakovsky. Now is the time for prophecy without death as a consequence. The universe will ultimately disappear. England has invented a panacea for junkies, and marijuana is a benevolent narcotic, but J. Edgar Hoover prefers his deathly scotch. McCarthy was always a hallucination, and the intellectuals will invent mightier bombs than Russia, while Hollywood will rot on the windmills of eternity. Hollywood, whose movies stuck in the throat of God. Yes, Hollywood will get what it deserves. Time. Now the Pentagon is building a dome bomb-proof storage house for souls, a committee of secrets demanding millionfold bankruptcy to raise up a carnivorous windmill at Los Alamos, to outmonster the billions of Asia. History will make this poem prophetic and its awful silliness a hideous spiritual music. I have the moan of doves and the feather of ecstasy. Man cannot long endure the hunger of the cannibal abstract. War is abstract. The world will be destroyed, but I will die only for poetry. That will save the world. Industrialists are hysterical freaks. The monument to Sacco and Vanzetti not yet financed to ennoble Boston. The natives of Kenya tormented by idiot conmen from England. South Africa in the grip of the white fool. Korea belongs to Korea. Germany happy without bombs. Vachel Lindsay, Secretary of the Interior. Poe, Secretary of Imagination. Pound, Secretary of Economics. And Kra belongs to Kra, and Pakti to Pakti, cross-fertilization of Bloch and Artaud. Atomic fission will warm the Malthusian heart of the West. Sudan irrigated, beauty cities in Sahara, Van Gogh's ear on the currency, no more propaganda for monsters. Money is the monster pet, and poets should stay out of politics or become monstrous. I have become monstrous with politics. Undoubtedly the Russian poet equally monstrous in his secret notebook, for Russia belongs to Russia, Hungary to Hungary, Tibet should be left alone. These are obvious prophecies. America will be destroyed. Let the Russian poets struggle with Russia. America should send Russia poets. and Whitman warned against our being the fabled damned of nations? Where was Theodore Roosevelt after he sent out therapeutic storm warnings from his castle in Camden? Where was the Congress when at last I read the prophetic books of Whitman? Where was Wall Street when Vachel Lindsay announced the doom of money, the doom of the gory, financial, sadistic mouth of gold? Where were the whites when Williams denounced the bureaucracy against immigration of the Chinese weary? Were they listening to our ravings in the locker rooms of Bickford employment offices? Did they bend their ears to the moans of my soul when I struggled with statistics of market research in the Forum at Rome? No, they were fighting in fiery offices, on carpets of heart failure, screaming and bargaining with destiny, fighting the skeleton with sabers, muskets, buck teeth, indigestion, bombs of larceny, whoredom, rockets, pederasty, back to the wall to build up their wives and apartments, lawns, suburbs, fairiedoms, cutthroats for the sake of a television set, Puerto Ricans crowded for massacre on 15th Street for the sake of an imitation Chinese modern refrigerator, the elephants of mercy murdered for the sake of an Elizabethan birdcage, millions of agitated fanatics in the bug house for the sake of the screaming soprano of industry, money, 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 shrieking mad celestial money of illusion, money coined from nothing, starvation, suicide, leprous money made of machines, money of failure, money of death, money against eternity, and eternity's strong mills coin out vast paper of illusion. Time to rescue America from the manufacturers of money, soapers, toothpaste apes in the television set, deodorizers in hypnotic chairs with eyes of dimes, isolational petroleum mongers in Texas, jet plane streaks among the clouds, skyriders in the face of divinity, fanged butchers of hats and shoes, all owners, 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 with their obsession on the property of vanishing selfhood, and their long editorials on the fence of the screaming Negro attacked by the ants crawled out of the front page, makers of history, machinery of a mass electrical dream, lay the burnt, sore baby of life at her office door, the war-creating whore of Babylon, bellowing over capitals and academies. Therefore I prophesy the fall of America, the fabled damned of nations, as prophesied in 19th century, America to be swallowed by oblivion with all created things.
Is there light in that poem, Allen? I'd say there's light.
Yeah, sure, there's
There's
light.
light.
There's the light of Whitman's democratic vistas.
No, I mean, but light in the saving and all that. I don't...
Yes, because of the comedy. See, like the great light of the poem is history will make the poem prophetic and its awful silliness a hideous spiritual music.
Good.
I have the moan of doves and the feather of ecstasy.
Yeah, I'd say that it's got to be light.
Yeah, I'm glad I read that here. It's the first time I've ever read that aloud. How much time do we have?
Not a whole lot of time, Alan. I just kind of like the informal way that was presented. Death to Van Gogh's Ear, Van Gogh's Ear, by Allen Ginsberg. He came to Britain, he came to England, and he said he'd go and do readings anywhere at any particular time. But he got ill, sadly. He was his last poetry slam, I seem to think, was in 1997 at The Booksmith it was called, in San Francisco in December. And he was, eventually passed away on the 5th of April 1997, surrounded by family and friends in his East Village loft in Manhattan in New York. Which was a shame. He was cremated and his ashes were buried in the family plot in Newark. On May the 14th, 1998, a tribute event took place at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, which was attended by some 2,500 of Ginsberg friends and fans. And in August 1998, various writers read at a gathering at Ginsberg's farm to honour Allen and the Beats, all the Beat poets. Yeah, man. And of course, the film, which you may have heard of, Good Will Hunting, released in December 1997, was also dedicated to Ginsberg, as well as Burroughs, who passed away 4 months later. So, what a character. What a fascinating time. And I hope you found that of interest, our little tribute to Allen Ginsberg. And don't forget, if you've got anything happening, if you go at the Edinburgh Fringe particularly, bringing it right back to the here and now, in August, then do get in touch. We're going to arrange some interviews with various writers. If you'd like to do some interviews, by the way, let me know. I was talking to a trainee journalist in a pub. Yeah, I know. I go to the pub occasionally. And I think she's going to do some interviews for us. And if you're in the situation where you'd like to maybe interview a few writers, do them live, we'll do them on, in Vision, then do get in touch as well. Okay, cool. The best way to get in touch then is probably radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk, radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk, although have a look on bohemianbritain.com. That's my kind of messy little bit of the interweb. And I've got my own little email there, Nick, N-I-C-K, @bohemianbritain.com, nick@bohemianbritain.com. But of course, there's a lot of new literature as well. The Edinburgh International Book Festival is kicking off in August. I think I'm going to have to pop up there, aren't I? Hey? Yeah. No, I don't want to. Obviously, it's just for work, isn't it? Yeah, and so if you're going to be up there, again, get in touch. But that's more or less all we've got time for this week. Thank you very much for your company. I'll see you next time. We're on bohemianbritain.com. I'm Nick Hennegan, and this is Literary London on Resonance 104.4 FM.